There it is. So, welcome to the Quiet Zone Coaching. I'm your host, Susan Batang, and we are going to talk about 4 traits that psychic vampires and relationship losers look for so that you can avoid them. Okay. So, the first thing that I have to say is that what we put out in the world, even unknowingly, affects what we attract, right? We don't even know sometimes that we're sending out these messages, these subconscious messages. There is a thing called social intelligence. Okay. It's just like emotional intelligence and intellectual intelligence, like you have your IQ, but there's also social intelligence. And part of that is knowing that when you go into a room, what you bring in that room, what's going on in your mind, gets sent out to everybody in that room, whether you know it or not. It just kind of spreads through the room, just like you get somebody who comes to a party and they're a terrible buzzkill, right? So what we send out in the world sends messages to other people, and that's what we're going to talk about today: is the 4 traits that these psychic vampires and relationship losers, what they look for. Okay. Um, these jerks, losers, psychic vampires recognize certain traits in us that make us an appealing target for them. And I have to say that there is something, I've got something for you that it's free. Um, I have what's called a perfect partner assessment. So what we do is we identify what it is you're sending out into the world, the top 3 or 4 things that you're sending out in the world that is causing you to attract these losers. And the number one thing that you can do to get back on track and start attracting people who are a little higher caliber and who are more suited to you. Sometimes it's not even a matter of attracting psychic vampires. It has to do with, who is good for you personally. So let's talk about those traits. Number one is that your self-esteem or self-confidence may be too low. Okay. In the same way that bullies find the weak people, psychic vampires and losers find the needy people. So take the time to create some positive self-talk and practice some self-care. You can't pour water from an empty jug. You have to make sure you take care of yourself first. Be confident that you can handle anything, because you have. How many awful situations have you had to handle in your relationship life? So be confident. You can, you've been there, done that, seen the movie. That you know what to do. Be confident that you'll be able to pull that out of a hat when you need to. And don't come across as being needy or weak. Okay. Be confident. The second thing that psychic vampires look for is people who are wary because they've been hurt before. Okay. So often our ego gets beaten up after divorce. Okay. We may have been made to feel like we're greedy or we're crazy or we're worthless. It's almost like we've been thrown into a blender, isn't it? It's a terrible experience. And psychic vampires can pick up on that through that social intelligence and play the pity game. Okay. So, wow, that's so awful, they'll tell you, making you think that they're going to protect you. They know you're bruised and they'll take advantage of that bruise every time. Okay. The third trait that psychic vampires and relationship losers look for is when you don't have a defined value system. Okay. When we take the time to not only nail down our values, but make sure that our behavior and our attitudes match those values, we won't become love chameleons. And that's where you will change the way that you feel or the way you say that you feel in order to suit your partner or to have somebody like you. Okay. The other thing that you could possibly do if you don't have your value system nailed down and you're not living by it is that you become the desperate hunter. Okay. You settle for the first guy that you find. And losers, jerks, and vampires can smell that loneliness a mile away. Okay. So by defining your value system and making sure that your attitudes and your behavior are modeled on that value system. You're not going to be sending out so much of a love chameleon or that desperate hunter vibe. The fourth trait that psychic vampires and relationship losers look for is looking for love in all the wrong places. Okay, so where do you go? Where do you go to meet guys? Okay, do you go to bars and clubs? Do you prowl the supermarket? Do your friends hook you up with people that they know? Okay, flirt with the cute guys in the office. Is this what you're doing? I think probably half of the relationships that I've had in my life came from work. Okay. And with the exception of the last one, which is amazing and wonderful, then this is why I teach these classes. I was looking in the wrong spot. You don't look at work. You ever hear that expression, you don't shit where you eat? Okay. Um, there you go. So instead, focus on meeting guys organically. Okay. What are the activities that you love? What do you find interesting? Do you like museums? Do you like bowling? Do you like to play golf? Do you not like sports, or do you like to run in the park? So you might not do an organized sport. You might be a sports watcher. So do you like baseball games? Do you like football games? If you don't like sports at all, do you like to read? Do you go to the library? What are you interested in? What do you like to do? Okay. Join clubs, go to, there's like online meeting places like Meetup. And you can find all kinds of groups. And now that we're getting back out into the world again after COVID, they're going to start meeting in person again. Even if they meet virtually, you can meet guys that have similar interests to you because you are participating in things that they like and that you like. Okay. So that's where the guys who have similar interests to you are going to be. So do the things that you love to do. So not only that way, you also don't come across as the desperate hunter. Remember what we said about the desperate hunter. You have to consider too that when you are participating in things that you love to do, you are practicing self-care. Okay. You're having fun. You're enjoying life. Okay. That's what it's all about, right? So if you would like to meet somebody, those are the places that are the most logical to meet them, and do it organically. Okay. These are just a few of the messages that we send out, the traits that these psychic vampires and relationship losers look for. There's so much more. We do this without even realizing that we're doing it. So why not try one of those perfect partner assessments? We'll discover what's keeping you from finding your perfect partner and what you are sending out in the world. And the number one strategy that you can use to get back on the right track so that you can meet your perfect partner. You can go to www.thequietzonecoaching.com, and you'll be able to find it on the services page, or even at the I believe that might be the freebie on the banner. But on the services page, you will see a link where you can sign up for that free session. So please, I really strongly encourage you to do that. It doesn't cost you a dime, and you might learn something that you didn't know. So until the next time, have a wonderful, awesome, amazing day, and I will talk to you again next week.